All right. So looking at my references that I have here, um, I'm working with two references. So I like this reference because of the background and the rim light that it's casting. So I want to use this as part of my reference. And then the secondary reference that I have is the front of the can where I just want to light a portion of the can. So maybe I know that we have a full can. And from there, I just want to light, some of the labeling, kind of just to reveal this drink. So that's kind of the idea I'm thinking. I'm also looking at the way this lipstick is laid out in this composition, and I want to kind of lay my cans out in the same way. So those are the three things that I'm gonna follow as I set up this shot. So let's switch over to Blender now, and I'll walk you guys through my process of building this shot. So I'm starting from scratch. I'm gonna build the shot from scratch and just kind of talk through it as I'm going. So first off, I want to have easy access to my can materials. The can material is pretty simple. It's a metal and then a label. One thing I should point out with this shader too is for the can itself. Well, the label is white, right? So when I created this label after I had done a lot of work to take pictures of this label, um, I had to make it white, right? And but there's no such thing as like a pure white, right? So anytime I have white objects in 3D, I always pull the white down from 255. So like this one is 255, right? Working in 8-bit color. And so what I always like to do is pull my colors down to about I think it's like a point 0.8, right? So if I do 200 divided by 255, that's about 0.78. And so I always like to bring my number down to like point 0.8. And the reason being is so that your object can accept light values. If you just have a pure white that's 1 or 255, it's going to be very hard to light something that's pure white because it's already pure white, right? It's going to reflect everything back and it's going to blow out real quick. So what you want to do is pull it down because there's no pure whites in reality. So you want to pull it down a little bit so that it can accept more light value to the object. All right. So a little bit of explanation about whites. I did a video talking about blacks also. I should do another video talking about the color white and working with that. But okay, so let's get into it. The materials again are simple. That's the one thing I wanted to point out about the white material. And then this top can is just a metal material, simple. Just turning up the metallic, playing with the roughness, and that's about it. I didn't do anything fancy. Okay, so I'm going to make a new scene. I'm going to copy my settings, and then I'm going to call this shot 100. And then I'm going to create a collection instance for the can so that I can bring this back in. So now the can is just a collection instance. And then I'm going to shrink this thing down, this pointer thing, whatever it's called. So I'm going to shrink that down and I'm going to just start setting up my shot. So we're going to create a camera. And as you guys have seen, I've always done the same exact thing when I set up my shots. I want to create something more portrait this time, actually, not squared. I'm going to format it to a 1080 by 1920 and then rotate this camera 90 degrees, 0 and 0. And then we're going to pull it back. So let's go into the camera and then we're going to set up our lens. So we're going to do a 135 full frame down here. Got all that set up. And then we're going to move the camera up. And then I'm going to turn off my overlays. So here, this button here turns off all the overlays so you don't see all the grid and stuff. It just makes it a clean shot to work with. Turn off my tools, Control tilde to turn off that. And our pass part 2. So let's turn that up. There we go. And then I'm going to leave depth of field off for now. I don't really need it right now. Okay, so let's go to our top view, pull the camera back just a tad bit, and then I'm going to start matching what I had in that reference. So I'm going to rotate the can just like that. And then I'll make a duplicate. Press Alt D, select both, and then just kind of position them how I want. So I'm probably going to back the camera out just a tad. So just back out and then rotate. Cool. So that's nice. So let's look at our reference one more time. I might actually push the camera in just a tad bit more, and then bring this can closer. All right, so let's push the can in, kind of crop it a little bit. So I want gin and juice, and then I want the car as the part in the parental advisory. So that's pretty nice right there. So I got gin and juice, right? Parental advisory, and then I got the car and parental advisory up here in this whatever 5.9% thing. So I got those elements in this shot, right? Between these two. That's what I'm trying to capture, to make sure I capture these labels properly. Okay, so I got a simple composition blocked out, and then now I can set up a plane, right? So I always set up a background in my images, and then push this back, scale it up, make sure it's even, something like that works. Cool. And then from there, I can start playing with some lighting. All right. Move this up some more and then scale it. There we go. Okay. So looking at the reference again, I'm going to start with the background. So let's start rendering. We're starting on a black scene. Turn off those overlays again. And then from here, I'm going to start working on this background shader. So we're going to go to shader editor, create a new material, and then emission, just like that. Connect it to the surface output. Delete this, move this up, and then now we're going to add a gradient, color ramp first. Got that, and then a gradient texture. No, not a texture. Is it a gradient texture? I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think it is. Okay, that's what it was. All right, connect this here, and then connect that there, and then texture coordinates. All right, so we got those things set up. We got to get our colors, so I'm just going to kind of ballpark it. So we got an orange color, so we're going to pull this value up, and we're going to go in the orange here, about that area. And then we have a yellowish color, so we got yellow, something like that. I'll just desaturate it just a tad bit, something right there. All right, so let's go back to the orange. Probably make that a little bit more rich. Cool. That's nice. And so what I could do now, I could do something a little different this time. I could select this. So I can set this to, I'll set this side to UV. And then I'll select the plane. And then what I'm doing right now is going to edit mode, pressing U for UV, and then unwrapping, just to unwrap the texture. And then I'm going to scale it down to see if it tiles up. I know what I need to do. Go back to shader editor. And then I'm going to plug this UV here. And then I'm going to go back, UV editor. I'm just going to scale it down to see how this, oh, I'm going to scale it up. I want to see how it tiles. That's what I wanted it to do. So I'm going to scale it up till it tiles a little bit. All right, so I'm going to rotate the UV 90 degrees. There you go. That's what I want. So I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees, actually 180. Put that on the bottom. And then, so we got the background set up, like the reference. And then I could probably pull this upward. See how this lays out. Which way are we going? Okay, we're going that way. Okay, so this will help me determine how like I want my gradient to fall. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm just looking back and forth at my reference. And then I can pull this side in. Yeah, so something like that. We'll start with that. I like that. We can always make more edits later. So we're just trying to quickly block everything out. That's what I'm focused on right now. I'm just blocking everything out. And so now I'm going to work on my rim light next. So got the background. So now I'm going to work on the rim for these elements. So I'm just going to create a light. I'm going to try not using Light Wrangler for the rim. I'm just going to try dropping in a light and seeing what happens first. So we're going to do that. Rotate it 90 degrees. Just scale it up a little bit and then push it back. Seeing how it falls onto the object. Okay. All right. So something like that's pretty nice. I want to make sure it doesn't cut into my shot. Just move it up. Yeah. So now I'm getting some light on there. Okay. So we got that blocked out. Pretty simple. Try and see what happens if I push it back just a tad bit more. Then maybe raise it again. Get that top part. So I probably need to scale it up. I'm going to go over here, change it to a rectangle so I can just scale one side up, make it longer. Because this top portion was not getting hit with light, but now it is. All right, cool. So now I'm going to just duplicate the light, move it over in the X, and then rotate it. And now I'm going to add a rim on the other side. And so I have to kind of go down on the light. So I'm going to go to the front view, and I'm just going to bring this down so I can get that bottom portion now. Then we'll play with color in a little bit. So just like that. Maybe push it back some more. Yep. That's nice. And then maybe bring the light down some more so I can get that bottom portion of the can. Cool. All right. So we got that. Got a rim light. So now I need to just warm up the lights. So I'm going to go here over here to use nodes. And then I'm going to add a black body right here. And so as you can see, the light's already warming up, right? It's pretty hot. It's pretty warm with 1500. So I'm going to go 2500 to get something more orange like that. Let's try 2000. Like that. I like that. And then we're going to go over here. Same thing. Black body. Let's see. Where is it? I'm lost. Start over. Black body. There it goes. Okay. Black body. 2000. Same thing. And I'm just bouncing back and forth to my reference also. You guys can't see me doing that. I have to switch it in OBS to show you the reference. So let's look at it again. So this is the reference again. And then this is my scene. Okay, reference and my scene. And so as I'm working through, I'm just bouncing back and forth to use my reference. So as you can see, I have my background, my rim lights set up, right? And I can also add in a fill light too. As I'm looking at the reference, I could tell like there's just a little bit of fill light to fill in some of the object. And I could add some fill to it too, just to fill in the surface to add some warmth to the front of the surface. So I'll just add a plane just to try it out before we move on to adding in our spots on the front. So see how we could do this. So I can take this light or this plane, maybe set it over here to the left, and then just put it off, way off camera. I don't need a lot at all, just subtle. And the reason I'm doing this is just to bounce some of that warmth back into the scene. That's the purpose of it. So that's one side of the shot. Maybe I could try it over here, see what that looks like. Rotate the plane. Okay. Another thing I could try too is just putting it below. So I'm gonna lay the plane flat and then put it kind of underneath to bounce light upwards into the shot. So that is feeling much nicer. So something like that is good. And then maybe I'll try doing another plane up above too. So we got one down and one up above like that. So I can already separate them more. I just want it very subtle, just a little bit of warmth. Okay, so that's cool. So let's look at that reference again. So as you can see on the reference, right, we got the rim, and then there's just a tiny bit of fill. It's not a lot. And if we go back to my scene, same thing, right? I'm doing a little bit more fill than I should, but I'm happy with it for now. Okay, so let's move on to light in the front of the can now. So I got a couple options I could do. I could do spotlights, or I can do an area light with a very tight spread on it. And I think I'm gonna do a area light with a tight spread. So I'm gonna create an area light, and let's see, area light like that, and then I'm going to go to my side view, kind of just set it here, go top, wireframe, set it off to the left, maybe. And then I'm going to take this point and just drag it onto the can. So this yellow thing right here, if you actually drag it, it drags onto the surface. It snaps onto the surface. So wherever you're dragging it is what it snaps to. So I'm snapping it onto this left can, right? Let's go with the right can. As a matter of fact, I want to see my material because I want to put it right onto the label. So I'm going to put it right on that label right there. All right. So with this area light, what you could do is you can go over here to your options and you see the spread here. If I turn this to 0, it's only going to project the shape of this light, right? So let's say if I made this light 1 inch, right? So now the light is only 1 inch and it's basically like a laser that's shooting, a square laser. So imagine like you're seeing this square shape being shot to the can like a laser. And the more I spread it, the more that light spreads out. So you'll see it gets softer. Nope, not changing the size. So the more degrees I go up in, the more light spreads out. It's getting softer. So basically what's happening is from it being just a straight parallel line, now it's turning into a line that's becoming more perpendicular. So now it's starting to have a cone as it's spreading out. But before, when it was set to 0, it's just a straight line, parallel lines. So this is how you can create like spots with area lights. And if you're using projection maps, like in Light Wrangler, like Light Wrangler has gobos, you can plug a texture node that's black and white into your light, and then it will project that texture onto objects. And so that's how you can create gobos. So the lower the value is, the more sharp the texture will be. It will reflect the texture that you're using. But the higher the value is, the softer you're making that texture, and you can make it look more like sun-cast leaves or whatever you want to call it. All right, so on this label, right, and I can make this a disc also. So I'm going to change the shape to a disc so I can make it soft. So one last thing about it too, the spread is relative to the power also. So if the spread becomes tighter, the power of the light becomes stronger, right? The intensity. So as you spread and spread and spread, the intensity of your light will start to dim, right? So at 180, you see how it dimmed. And then if I turn it to 0, it gets real hot, right? So that's what you have to pay attention to also. All right, so now let's move on to adding some spread. I'm going to turn it up to like 10. Try 5, right? let's look at our reference again. So I'm going to switch to the Xbox controller. So looking at the Xbox controller, we can see that we have soft shadows, right, that are falling off into darkness. And the rim on these rocks from the background is what's being taken care of. So that's kind of the shot we're going for, is a mixture between those two. I accidentally closed out my other shot and I can't find it again. But now we're working on the front. So we'll focus on that. All right, so let's switch over back to Blender, and we're going to work on these shadows. So again, I'm going to go over here, play with my spread. I'm going to turn it up to 10, and then I'm going to shrink the light down some. So we're going to go 0.5, and then turn the power down also. Let's turn it way down. Way too much power on that light. So just turning the power down on the light. Okay, so again, 0.2. I'm just trying to find a good spot for this light. And what I could also do is I can kind of shift the light off the product so that I'm catching more fall off shadow than anything, right? And so I can do something like that, right? And then maybe just soften the light some more. So let's try 15 degrees. And then we'll shift the light just a tad bit. So that's another trick you can do too. So just shifting it up, keep messing up, shifting it off just a little bit. But I want to tighten it up some more, actually. So I need to bring the size down to like 0.05, 0.01, see what happens. Okay, so we're getting really small. And I need it to be a rectangle, or not a rectangle, but a disc. Okay, so size of the light. See what happens here. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll go 0.1, then 10, and then move that. Something like that. So being that this product is small and this light is small, what I'm having a problem with in 3D is that I can't take the values real low. They're not working. So I'm going to have to come up with another solution, possibly. Okay. So I'm going to still play with it, see what I can get. I'm going to turn this up to about 80 just to brighten it up. And then see point. What should we go with? 0.2. Then the degree. So that's too much for me. And I'm looking at these shadows like I want them even soft. I want a softer fall off on these shadows. So I might have to go with this spot. So I'm going to switch over to a spotlight. So we're going to try a spotlight instead. So we're going to delete this. And we're going to go with the spotlight now. Let's see, where's my spot? There it is. Okay. So same thing as I did prior. Put it right up here. Rotate it. Go top view. Pull it back. And I'm going to take that point and make sure it sits on the label on the front of the can. Something like that. Okay. And then we're going to work on that fall off again. So now that we're working with a spotlight, let's see what we get here now. So again, see our options here. This one's a little different. Got spot fall off, got radius, and then we got blend. So I'm going to turn this blend up. I'm going to turn this way down. There we go. So this is something better. I'm liking. I like this. This is a lot softer. So I'm going to turn it up just a little bit more. So that blend, so I'll show you guys what the blend does. So if I make this real small, the blend is what softens up that spotlight, right? And so again, it's in relative to the spot size too. So these two kind of work in tandem with each other. So I'm going to turn this cone up a little bit, or spot size. Then I'm going to give the spot itself some radius, because for our shadows, our shadow casting. So I'm going to turn the size back down. So now I'm getting like a very nice soft look to my light. I'm gonna turn this way down. Let's see, 0.25. And then turn the blend up again. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. That's what I'm looking for. Something like that. Okay. Something like that. Play with the angle of my light a little bit too. So I'm gonna pull this light down a smidge like that. And then I'm gonna spread it out even more on the can. I want it even softer actually. So I might actually turn this size up again. 0.5, soften it up more. Yeah, that's nice. So something like that is cool. Highlight the label. And then I wonder, just kind of thinking in my head, just kind of concepting, I wonder if I should just highlight this area. I mean, this car is already falling off. So probably what I should do is highlight this portion on this other can. So I'll probably try that. So I'm going to duplicate the light and then just highlight the car portion on this other can. Just like that. Simple as that. So I'm going to take that point, just play with it, see what we get on the can. Yeah, that's nice. And then I'm going to take this. See what happens if I just move it around a little bit too. The gin and juice portion is the most important. I'm going to go in between gin and juice and the parental advisory. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. Cool. And then I should brighten up. Nope, I didn't want to do that. Oh, something happened. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I'm gonna go to my render settings too, color management, and oh, now that we're in, so I didn't even mention we're in Blender 4.2. If I go Chronos, right, our colors are actually more accurate. So I don't know if you guys know, um, with Blender 4.2, there's a new color profile called Chronos PBR Neutral. And if I remember right, this profile is made by the same person who made the AGX profile. And this profile was specifically made for product renderings so that our colors are more accurate. I don't know if you all noticed, but when you're bringing textures in, they're not one to one. They're somewhat inaccurate with the colors because Blender was filtering the colors in a way where your colors are not accurate to what you see when you open it up outside of Blender. And so, and the reason being is because, we're working in 3D, we're adding lights and such things, but this person was able to create a new color profile so that everything works cohesively together. So now we get more accurate colors. And as you can see, look how much more rich this image is just changing to that color profile. And so again, you do get the same options, medium, high contrast and such things, but I'm going to leave it to none. Even just having that small change made a big difference. So like, this is a really rich image now. I'm really liking this. I didn't even have to do much. And so now I'm going to actually just brighten this light here. Oh, another thing I was going to do too, see if it's not set. I'm going to go to film. I'm going to change this width to 1. And that's just going to make my image sharper. So if you set it to like 4, you're going to see that my rendering is real blurry. And this is just at least a pixel filter. And so this is just because I'm doing a product rendering and I want to make it real nice and sharp. So I just change it to 1. Anything else do I want to change? Not now. Okay, so that's it. And then I'm gonna go back to my light, and I just wanted to make this light just a tad bit brighter. Let's go 16. Cool. And then this light here. Let's make that brighter. It's too bright for me. Let's go 12. And then go back to this one, probably 12 too. Eyes are playing tricks on me. All right, there we go. I like that. All right. I'm gonna play with the rim lights again. So I'm gonna actually make them kind of go down to 1500, just see what that looks like again. Since we're playing with warm colors, and I might turn the brightness of them down. Nah, dude, let's go 1750. Yeah, I think that's a good option. 1750, and then I'll go 2000 on this side. And then I'm gonna turn down. Let's go 0. Slowly turn it up. See what we get. Yeah, we'll go 8. Go crazy just to see what happens. A little too much. Yeah. Okay. I just want to see what happens if I was to pull it into the shot a little bit, or bigger rim light. I'm going to leave it. Okay, I'm going to try this side too. It's just to play around. So we got everything blocked out. So now I'm tweaking stuff, right? Everything has been blocked out. Now I can start tweaking everything that I've created. So that's what I'm doing now. I would say one thing that I'm not happy with right now, looking at this shot, is highlights, because this can, it's a cylindrical shape, and right now the only way we're able to tell like it's a real cylindrical shape is like these little hints of reflections that are on here, right? And just the profile itself, but the volume of it, I'm not really reading that it's a cylindrical shape. So I might cheat and add a highlight to the front of the can, with another light. And I'll probably just like use a light wrangler. So I'm gonna press F9. And so now I'm just gonna cheat and add like a highlight on this can now. Very subtle highlight. It might be worthwhile like adding a warm highlight, matter of fact, since to match the thematics of what we got going on. So with that being said, I'm gonna add some feathering to it just to soften the highlight, and then also turn the brightness down. It's way too bright. Where's the color temperature? There it is. So I'm gonna go 2000 just to see what that looks like. That's too crazy. I'm gonna go 3000, 4, and then I'm gonna take this brightness down. So I'm gonna just go in the middle, 6500. Actually 5500. Just a little warm. Nope. I want it pure white. There we go. 2. So now I'm getting some highlight, right? It's giving me some shape. That's the reason for this. Let me change this to a rectangle too. I want to see if I make it longer, if we get anything different. And then turn up the brightness so I can actually see what's happening. So I'm making the light longer, extending the highlight. That's what I'm doing, just to give it that shape. Then I'm gonna just 4, 6. I'm gonna turn this off. I'm gonna turn my spots off too, to see how much this area light is affecting the object. So it's a big light. I'm trying to think in my head if this is the right approach or not, because now I'm kind of deviating away from the reference. Because if I turn this off, right, now that I'm looking at my original concept, I actually want to tighten this up a little bit too now. So I wonder what happens if I was to just raise this light up a little bit slowly. And then I'm going to tighten up the cone too. So spot size, I'll go 8. Yeah. Just tighten that up some. Let's go 6. Go back to 8. 8 was a good number. Maybe rotate the can a little bit too into the light. Something like that. A little bit of styling like that. And then I want to go back to, where is it? This right here. All right, so let's take another look at this. So I'm gonna try, I'm gonna turn off this and this. And I want to play with the horizontal tilt and vertical tilt. See what we get. Okay. So if we do this, soften top, bottom. Okay. I like that. Just putting on that top portion of the can. That's too crazy. Set it to 0. And feather. I might shrink it back down. Something like that. Okay, and this spread. That doesn't matter actually. All right, so let's turn these lights back on. Oh, just like that. It's not really working. I think I'm gonna play with this some more. Maybe I can get something like this. Yeah. Kind of have to think about it for a while. What I would do for this spot, this, because I'm still not like, I don't know about y'all, but it still feels flat to me when I look at the can. Because I want to get that cylindrical shape across, you know, so that you can actually feel it in your hands. So I'm kind of stuck right now in my head of how I would approach this. But again, you know, I'm not going to keep you guys too long. I'm probably going to stop right here. But, you know, you guys can see how I built this shot fairly quickly, you know, to get it set up and block it out. And then now I'm in a phase where, you know, I'm looking at it again, reassessing things, and I want to tweak. But from here, you can continue to develop the shot into its final form, you know, go into post-production or whatever else you need to do. So again, I don't want to go too long with this video. I appreciate you guys coming through. More videos coming, of course, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.